Women do not care about how physically attractive you are or how tall you are as a man. Sure, being physically attractive, like having muscle, being tall, or having male model looks, is a bonus, but it's not the main thing that they're looking for. What women do care about, far more than your appearance, is number one, your status, and number two, the amount of resources you have. I'm not just talking about money in the modern sense. Think back 100,000 years ago. Back then, resources meant how much food you could gather or hunt. If you knew where to find a fresh water source or a hidden patch of berries, you had value. You were the kind of man who could help a woman and her offspring survive. Fast forward to today, and resources are no longer about berries or hunting skills. They're about money and the lifestyle that money can provide. Here's the thing though. A woman may initially be drawn to men who catch her attention. Maybe the guy is 6'8" or really good looking. But here's the harsh truth. If she talks to that guy and finds out he has no money and no status, she'll lose interest almost immediately. She'll move on to the next guy who can actually provide those things, or, in some cases, she might keep the guy around to boost her own status in the eyes of others. Maybe she enjoys the attention she gets from being seen with them, but make no mistake, she's not giving him anything in return. No dates, no intimacy, nothing. Why? Because in her eyes, he doesn't offer real value. He's just eye candy or temporary confidence boost. Now, let's talk more about status. When I say status, I don't mean you need to be a famous actor, a rock star, or someone with a million Instagram followers. That kind of global status is rare, and honestly, it's not necessary. What you do need is situational status. Situational status means being valuable in the specific social environments that you're a part of. For example, if you're on the football team, especially if you're the captain or one of the best players on the team, you've got situational status. People in your school or community see you as important, and women are naturally attracted to that. It's the same with hosting a party. If you're the one who decides who gets in who doesn't, you're the gatekeeper, and therefore you have status. And that makes you someone worth noticing. Even bouncers at nightclubs, who might not make much money, have situational status because they control access to a desirable space. Women notice that kind of influence. Another example is the gym. You don't have to be the most muscular guy in the gym, but if you're consistent, confident, and clearly working on yourself, people will respect that, and that creates situational status. The same goes for other social environments like theater. If you're the lead in a high school or college play, you automatically command attention and everyone's eyes are on you, and that kind of spotlight will naturally create attraction in women. Even with this kind of information, it's still going to take time to build the status and resources you need for women to be genuinely attracted to you. That's just the way it is. Building value as a man doesn't happen overnight, and that's a part of the reason women are often more drawn to older men. They expect older men to have their lives more together, more resources, more status, and more stability than someone younger who's still figuring things out. Now let's address the elephant in the room. The world we live in today makes all of this way harder than it used to be. In the past, women could only compare you to men they knew in their immediate surroundings. If you were the best hunter or the most dependable guy in your village, you stood out. But now with apps like Instagram and Tinder, women have access, or at least the illusion of access, to men all over the world. They're scrolling through pictures of guys with exotic cars, private jets, and vacations in tropical locations. Even if these men aren't realistically available to them, the constant exposure raises their expectations. This global competition hurts the men women actually have access to because now you're being compared to the idealized versions of men they see online. Back in the day, women didn't even know these types of men existed. Now they're a swipe or a scroll away. This is why it can feel like you're constantly being overlooked, even if you're doing everything right. But let's clarify something. Just because it's harder does not mean it's impossible. You just have to understand how to play the game. Let's revisit the money aspect for a second. A man who makes 100,000 a year, is physically attractive, and has a bit of status will almost always do better with women than a man who makes $1 million a year but is short, unattractive, and awkward. However, if that 100,000 a year man suddenly starts earning less than 20,000 a year, the dynamic shifts. Now the millionaire becomes the more attractive option because financial stability is non-negotiable for women. The key takeaway here is that money matters, but only up to a point. Once you're financially stable, other factors like confidence, charisma, and status start to matter more. There are diminishing returns on wealth when it comes to attraction. This means you don't need to be a millionaire to attract women. You just need to reach a level of stability and competence that makes you stand out. Here's something else to think about. Women are incredibly perceptive. They can pick up on whether you're genuinely confident or if you're just faking it. A lot of guys put on a front. They wear expensive clothes, post flashy pictures, and talk a big game, but it doesn't take long for that to crumble under closer inspection. Real confidence comes from knowing who you are and what you bring to the table. And the only way to build that is to put in the work yourself. So, how do you start? The answer is simple, but not easy. Focus on self improvement. Start with small, consistent changes. Hit the gym, not to become a bodybuilder, but to get stronger and feel better about yourself. Learn a skill, expand your knowledge, or take up a hobby that you're passionate about. Build something in your life that gives you purpose and fulfillment. When you do that, the confidence will start to flow naturally. And here's the best part. As you improve, you'll stop worrying so much about why women don't like you, because they'll start noticing you without you even trying. Attraction is not something you can force. It's a natural response to the value you bring to the table. So stop focusing on what you don't have and start building the life that you want. Women are not looking for perfection. They're looking for a man who knows his worth and isn't afraid to work for it. If you've made it this far, let me leave you with this. You already have what it takes to become the kind of man women want to be around. It's not about being born with advantages. It's about building the kind of life that makes you proud. Start today, start small, and keep going no matter how long it takes.